Welcome on my first step ever. This is yet another episode with an amazing personality from all the way from Sydney, Australia. This person has had his own share of amazing story from being someone who did not know what really he was looking out for and trying, failing, and getting up and knowing what he wanted, and then began a journey for him to ultimately be what he is today, helping and impacting a million lives across the globe, and that's what his mission is as well. So please join me welcoming Ehsan Ali all the way from Sydney, Australia. Hi Ehsan, welcome on my first step ever.
Thank you, Shani. Really appreciate bringing me on your podcast.
I'm
I'm
excited. Yeah, please, so
excited too.
go ahead.
Yeah.
We both are excited. So I would like my listeners to know this. Ehsan, he coaches Indian IT professionals worldwide to break free from the mid-career stagnation. He holds a lot of free webinars and personal coaching sessions. Now he is an ex-IT sales and delivery leader. He has amassed really amazing experience in this industry, and how everything began for him. Why is he here to help you understand that how you can take your goal? We will get into all that today real soon. But before that, I think it's time to know Ehsan a little bit more. So let's ask him that, Ehsan, what really drives you to be in the industry at present that you're in? And a little fun fact about you.
So I think I've always been in teaching, coaching, and mentoring, Ishani. I think the first teaching I did, I was in year six. I was 9 years old, and I was teaching
Wow.
kids who were in year eight. Not that I was extraordinary, brilliant, or anything like that. My father used to tutor outside his job, and he used to make me sit with him. So while sitting, I learned things, and that's how I started to do. But because he had this statement he used to say all the time, even one kid studies in a family, it can change the destiny of the whole family for generations to come. And that is stuck in my mind. So, from that perspective, I have always been in teaching, coaching, mentoring. I did an engineering. After engineering, I taught engineering in Mumbai, then moved to IT. For 22 years, I did all I had to do. But throughout this time, I was always teaching, coaching, and mentoring. And COVID was the catalyst to take this as a full-time profession. But to me, it looks like I have done it all my life. So just you can only connect the dots backward, as Steve Jobs says. You will, and you can say, oh, okay, this is what I was meant to do.
Yes, of course. I think it's really interesting to know that what you are doing at present was sort of a light bulb moment for you earlier when you got into it, but the essence of it, the foundation of it was there long back.
Long
And
back.
I think that's how started growing the interest, the love, and I think the calling, that when you really got the chance, as you mentioned in the brief summary that you have given us, which we will dive into right now, that how things really made sense for you. And before we go ahead, I like
In
to
fact,
know, is there any fun fact that you'd like to share about us with
I
us?
don't know if I call it fun fact, but I think again it's all connecting the dots backward. Every time I had some sort of I was stuck in something, I took a so big a leap. Um, Say for example, I had health issues. I've had arthritis, and I was a chain smoker, and all sort of things. So 2012, I said, all right, if I have to get rid of all of those things, become a personal trainer. So I became a personal trainer. I used to always goof up every time I was asked to speak on a stage in my college or in at work, and whole night I couldn't sleep because I was goofing up. I couldn't speak. So I said, all right. So pay money, hire coaches, whatever it takes, become a public speaker. So I trained myself in speaking from stage. So I mean, like that, every time I feel stuck, I do something much bigger. So this time, 3 years we have been sitting at home, right? So my cholesterol went up. So the doctor said, I'll put you on a statin if you don't get it in control. And I said, okay, how do I do that? I'm already a personal trainer. Probably I can do it, but I didn't do that. I had a personal trainer. I had a dietitian for 13 months.
Wow.
Okay, it's big commitment.
Yeah.
So the message is, I don't know if it's a fun fact or it's a way of living that I have found very powerful. This small change don't excite us, but big change, which are kind of scary and exciting too. and I have always gone for that, and it has really, really helped. So that's
Wow,
probably
I yeah, I think that definitely is a fun fact and a way of looking at life and how one can, try and change. So that's actually starting on a very good note, starting this chat today for anyone who's listening to us, that I think you've heard Ehsan give you a very important piece of advice, that if you really want to change, what might work for you. So I think you could try this out.
yeah.
Now, yeah, and I would like to let my listeners know that I had the opportunity to chat with Ehsan a couple of days ago, just kind of getting him know a bit more well about his journey. And today I'm going to ask those questions that were like life defining moments in his career so far, professional career, so that you get to know what exactly were the behind the scenes of where he is right now, so you can take those steps if you are at that particular juncture in your life. So Ehsan, my question is, we know, as you have roughly kind of very briefly mentioned, you were in the IT career for the longest period of time of your career, and though you enjoyed it to a certain bit and you were an expert in your field, what were the challenges or what were the situations that started making you feel this is not what you were really meant for?
I think in one line, it's a life of limited limitations. You have so much of work limitations at work, what you can do, what you cannot do, how fast you can grow. Every step there is a limitation. How much you can earn, what kind of role you can play. I felt very limited, and every time I projected my life 10, 20, 30 years ahead of me and saw myself just living with the same limitations, I felt like scared, and I didn't want to take my dreams to my grave. So I was looking for an outlet. I just didn't know how I would do it. And with it, it's not like I wanted to quit job and do career coaching. That
Yeah,
wasn't the thought process. Thought process was, can I find somebody, or can I find some way to unleash my potential at work itself? And that was not happening.
right.
People around me were not inspiring. I mean, no offense to anybody, but people around me did not inspire me, and I didn't know how to find and meet those people who could inspire me.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you're kind of stuck, right? People around you are not inspiring you. You don't know how to find people who could inspire you. So what do? You're stuck.
Absolutely true. Yeah, I think what you're trying to what you were saying is that the people that you had around you were not the kind of people maybe you could connect with,
Yeah.
align your thinking with, and
Yeah, I
definitely.
wanted to unleash my potential. I didn't just want to do a job.
Yes, yes, for sure. So, Esan, just a follow-up question on this question I wanted to ask, for anyone who is in a career for a very long period of time, or they're just starting off, and if they do have this feeling of that something's not right, what would be your quick piece of one piece of advice over here, that when is the right time to understand that they need to kind of sit back and think and maybe make a next move?
And this probably will not go well with a lot of people, but scare yourself. And the way I mean, I can only talk about how I have done it.
Yes,
I scared myself if I do not change. And I projected my life 10, 20, 30 years ahead of me and saw living with the same limitation. It shook me. It's only one life, right? And time flies. So as you
yes,
age, the speed with which days and weeks and months pass by accelerates. So
yes,
it's
that's
much
true.
slower at like 10 to 20. It's a little bit faster, 21 to 30. After 40, it flies.
Wow.
Okay, so if you are reaching like 30, 35, 40, the speed with which life will go is too much to you can't control it. So only way is, whenever you are stuck, first step is find people who are doing things that you want to do and start to talk to them. That's the starting point. People say, "Oh, I don't get inspired." You wouldn't get inspired sitting at home. Meeting people who are in. I mean, there is, for all of us, there are people who inspire us, right? We can
Yeah,
always, and in this world of internet and connectivity, we can always reach out to people who inspire us. That's the starting point.
lovely. I think one takeaway that I have right now, and that is really, I think that's my light bulb moment right now, is that when you said that life goes a pretty slow at certain age, and after that age, life really flies off. So I
Oh,
think
it's
that is
scary.
something that has hit me hard right now. So I hope for all our listeners who are here still with us, listening to us, this is something that might have rung a bell in your head as well. So let's see that once you do feel like that and you sit and project, that the initial feeling would be fear, and what do you do with that to convert things into action so your plans, your goals can be achieved within good amount of time. And I think that's where we are leading up to in Ehsan's journey as well, because I think from that period where he was in IT career, when he did not have that sort of inspiration that he was looking for, he did not feel aligned and he wanted to unleash his ultimate path, as he mentioned. So, Ehsan, in your career, in your point, you are finally doing something that you really love,
Yep,
and
it
you're
ticks
really
all the boxes.
and you're working the way that you can, to make this help impact other people. But the for us and for our listeners, the missing piece of the puzzle is that from the day you quit to this time, so please take us through that important journey of how did you take your
Sure,
first steps.
sure.
Yes.
I can share with you what I have done, and I wouldn't recommend copying it as it is, but you can take the essence of it. And
Very
I can
important,
always
yeah.
connect back and see what I did well, what I did not do well, right? So first thing first is I thought, okay, now is the time. If I don't make a jump now, I'll never be able to do it. Because I was always projecting my life 10, 20, 30 years, and time was passing by and I wasn't making any change. So I said, okay, it's COVID time and I've got some money, so jump. So I did the jump, but no clue what to do. So 1 year I spent looking at different businesses, and it became very scary now, right? The money is depleting, the money in the account is depleting, and you still don't have any clarity. So, and I was listening to a lot of podcast and reading books. In fact, I was reading books and came
Right.
across the word podcast first time in 2021, I guess. And I
Right.
thought, okay, that could be a good idea to really come out of the problems I'm having. And most professionals have the same problem. I do not know someone who has done better or differently who could inspire me. So while I was not finding people in my career, now I'm trying to build a business and I still don't know people who have done it. And
Right.
then came across JLD's podcast, The Entrepreneur and Fire, if you've heard of it. And I thought, oh, okay, so the best thing would be to start a podcast and invite people from Indian background who have either excelled in their career or transition into entrepreneurship successfully, and that meets both my criteria. I couldn't find the guidance while I was in career. I'm not able to find guidance while I'm trying to build a business. So I started my podcast, Empowering Indian Expats podcast, and I still didn't know if I would do career coaching. I just got excited, like I was meeting those people who were doing extraordinary things, and every day I used to make note, like from this comes like option one, option two, option three. I think I did it for like 2 months or so, and then I realized, oh, I don't want to do the business of podcasting, and I had met a career coach and a few more people, and together it all came down to, hey, this is the thing you should do, and that's when I got into career coaching. But career coaching again, it's a business, it's a solopreneurship or it's a business. You can't build it on your own just because you are good at coaching. You got to be good at business as well. So from podcast onwards, I did one good thing. Number one, I never did it on my own. I always hired a coach. So even podcast, I hired a coach, David Mamano, who runs podcast called Ganzo Experience. It's one of the top 1% podcasts. So I kind of pleaded, requested him, help me. So he coached me, and because of that, I was able to launch in 1 month. And during the first 2 months of podcast, when I realized looks like career coaching is what I'll do, but I still needed to learn business. So I hired a
Yes.
business coach. And all of these things I was doing when my money was depleting. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. You don't have to do everything that I did, but key thing is you must have somebody by your side who's already proven. Okay. Second thing is you connect the dot backwards and see who really are. So some people say, hey, I'm tired of my job. I want to do a business. What would you do? Hey, everybody is saying cryptocurrency is great, or everybody is saying real estate is great. But do you really like real estate? Can you trace back that you have some kind of DNA in it, right? And if not, you'll be like one among many, and maybe in 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, or 1 year, you will quit. So connect the dots so well. When you take up the new thing, you should be able to embody it completely. So what I do today, I 100% embody it. So there is no second thought. When I wake up in the morning, I don't think, hey, looks like this is not creating enough revenue. Should I jump onto the next shiny object? No, I don't get into that. And we don't have to run for shiny objects. Whatever you do, if you're completely in sync with who you are, the sky is the limit. At least you are fulfilled. Fulfilled. So hope that summarizes. So number one, I did a lot of mistakes, lost a lot of money. Good thing I did is I always hired somebody who were proven, and it doesn't work like every time you get the right people. So it's a lot of trial and error. So you lose money, but because you are leveraging others, you are still faster than everybody else who are trying on your own. I tried to put
Amazing.
a lot of different things. Hope it has made sense.
It has made sense to me completely. One thing I absolutely love is before you even started giving us or taking us through your journey, you made it very clear that do not copy, because it is very important thing that you actually, it's a disclaimer that you gave, because it's your own life. Whoever is listening to us, you might do things differently, you have different strengths, and but take everything that Ehsan has, shared with us as something that might or might not help you. Challenge what he has done in your own journey, challenge the thinking, or act or do something which you feel, oh, this might really work. So thank you so much, Ehsan, for kind of making it clear out there that it is your own journey. You think what would be best for you, but this is what my journey looked like, and this is how I have made, and this is how things have worked. And I think
Leverage.
from,
Leverage is the game.
yes,
Leverage is
yes,
the game. That's it.
absolutely. And I think this is out of all the three points that you have mentioned over here, that highlights that you have given of your own journey, the most important and the one that I connected with was leverage other people's on their experiences, which is really important. It's like never reinvent the wheel. Why do you want to waste that time? And even if, for people who are able to afford, for people who are not able to afford, there are the crux of this entire conversation is come in contact with people who can help you, reach
Yeah,
out
and
to the people.
there is a myth about this money thing, you know. So when you don't have money, barter.
Yeah.
And then there is a myth about bartering also. Oh, that person is so successful. How can I give something back to that person? But
That's very interesting.
once you make a decision, you will be able to add value. You will find a way to add value. I have bartered with so many people. So in early days, I didn't have money, right? Because it was depleting very fast. So I was very scared. But I still chose to invest wherever I needed to invest, and other places I bartered.
So, for example, this is a very spontaneous and a quick question, because I think I really love this aspect that we're discussing. If there's a very quick example that you can give us, Ehsan, that
Bartering.
how can someone barter? Yeah,
So when I
even
started
if
my podcast, I picked up two engineering students. One was good in language. Second was good in graphic designing and all of those things. And this guy wanted to learn the audio, podcasting, editing, everything, and she wanted to enhance her copywriting skill. So I taught her how to write show notes. I taught this guy how to do the audio, the whole full of podcasting, whatever I learned, and then together they refined. So in a month's time, they were running my whole show on their own. I used to just record and give it to them. So it
amazing.
became that's just a simple example of that.
So this was an amazing piece of advice to all of us, an example of what you can really do. This world really needs people, different people, because we all bring different kind of values.
Absolutely,
So this is
absolutely.
a thanks, Asan, for sharing that with us. And I think this has really resonated with me. So now understanding, where you come from, what is your passion, what really went behind your own reasoning of, choosing a path, creating your own path, and today you're here. You've already helped us understand the top three tips that you have given us. Is there anything else you would like to add to that?
See, I'm in career space, and that's where I spend all my time and keep thinking about it. See, career.
Let me say,
Yeah,
let me rephrase it and say maybe your top three tips that you would like to give our listeners today.
yeah. So if I were a carpenter, I would have talked about carpentry. Being a career coach, I can only talk about career, and I can give you a couple of quick three things you want. I'll give you three things. Learn to distinguish between a job and a career. These are completely two different things, and internalize that. Job is one transaction. Career is like a business. You build it over a period of time. It's a 45 years of journey. So every job you take is a very strategic move to build that 45 years of extraordinary journey. But if you don't, you will take every job as one transaction, you finish it, you do another transaction, you finish another transaction, which means you're doing job after job. And then you look back after 40 and say, oh, I had a poor career. Because you never looked at it as a career. You built it as just as a job. And you did it weekend to weekend to weekend to weekend. So that's one. Second one related is look at career as business of you. There is no job in this world who has future. No job has future. No job has future. Only people have future.
Wow.
Okay, there used to be typewriters, there used to be shorthand guy, so many jobs which don't exist today, which means there is no future of any job in this world, any job for that matter. Only people have future. And that being the truth, build your career as business of you, with you being at the center of it, you being the number one asset. That's
Lovely.
the mantra that I believe in. That's what I propagate day in, day out to everybody and anywhere and everywhere. You can find me on LinkedIn doing that 24/7.
Awesome. I think if people understand this last point that you have just made over here, the last statement that you have made, that you are at the center of your career, you are the asset, it will flip the entire concept of your job, your career, and everything, because then you start thinking about how you want to improve yourself, invest in yourself, because you are the one feeding on different things that you are on. This is
Absolutely.
incredible, Ehsan. Thank you so much for taking us through these amazing highlights of what you have just said, because I think very different from what I have heard so far, and this actually makes a lot of sense for everyone who are into either their own business, entrepreneurship, or even who are into jobs, because there are a lot of people who derive happiness out of being simply doing job for a company or for a cause, for an organization. But how you make yourself important at that point in time is really amazing, with the kind of perspective Ehsan has given.
Yeah, you're going to do the job anyway, so why not do it in the way which makes you fulfilled in every sense you want.
Awesome.
Why not? And the last statement for me, for everybody is please remember, God does not make junk.
Amazing. Could you please repeat that, Ehsan? That was really nice.
God does not make junk. So every time you feel like, oh, am I good enough? Will I be able to do it all? Just tell yourself, oh, yeah, yeah, remember that guy said the other day, God does not make junk. So
Amazing.
each one of us are capable to achieve whatever we want to achieve.
This was an amazing conversation for me so far. I think it has given me a lot of different perspective for my own career, for my own understanding, and even for my own personal growth. So thank you so much, Ehsan.
Thank you to you, Ishani, for inviting me on your podcast. I really appreciate this time and conversation.
Likewise, likewise. And I think there's no doubt that why you are so popular amongst people, especially in your own career right now, which in that you coach Indian IT professionals, that you have a great following on LinkedIn, because we can see why, because of the way you think and the way it impacts people's life. So thank you for taking us through your journey. I know there is lots that we could have covered, but we love that you have actually taken out the most important bits so that you can share with us in the time that we have right now. Before we take our leave, I like to request you to leave our listeners with a thought or a saying that you resonate with.
I think I start with that. Wherever you are, project your life 10, 20, 30 years ahead of yourself, where you are, and see if it excites you, if it makes you happy. If the answer is yes, then just continue doing it. Don't think like, oh, somebody else is doing, so I may have to do differently. No. If you can see your life project your life and still be happy and fulfilled, just continue doing it. That's your purpose. That's you're living your purpose. If the answer is no, uh, just make change now. Time flies. It flies. Just make the change now. Start the change now. And starting the change now is make the decision to change now. And life will not be the same. Personal experience.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ehsan. I'm so happy and glad that I could meet an amazing soul and individual like you. And thank you for giving your time. And for everyone who's listening to us today, I know that you have been really moved by what Ehsan has shared today. So if you would like to connect with him, and I would definitely recommend, I will leave his LinkedIn link in the show notes below. So do follow him. And until next time, I like to say, start believing in yourself and keep believing in yourself. See you all.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Ishani.
Okay, Esan, we have just recorded the episode. I have very two quick questions. If you're all good, they go like a promotional snippet. So it will be like a very quick question and like a 30-second answer sort of a thing.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Okay. Welcome on my first step ever, Esan. My quick question to you is, did you ever have a regret? If yes, how did you turn that around?
Yes, I did have regret, which is no more the case. So every time I felt like I'm stuck and I was not making decisions. So for example, I was stuck in poor health. I didn't take decision for a long time. Eventually, I took a decision where I became personal trainer. I transformed my health. So the regret was when I was not making the change. Similarly, in career, I was stuck for, I don't know, maybe last 5, 6, 7 years, and finally I made a change. All the change is very difficult, but once you go through that change, you go back and say, I would never trade that experience with anything else. So the regret is every time I delayed making a decision when I felt stuck. Now I don't want to. So going forward, whatever number of years or days or months I have, don't want to live in any regret. So it feel like okay, it's not working out, move.
Amazing. I think one recurring theme in your life journey so far, which is very out there, is time is important.
Yeah,
When you realize it, make the change.
time is definitely more important than money at any point in time. A mentor, one of my mentors taught me, and the day he taught me, I have stopped doing mowing on my own. Mowing is $50 per hour. My rate is anything between $300 to $500. So why would I do mowing?
Awesome. That is a very, very important piece of advice for a lot of people who are starting off. Really know your value.
Yeah.
And okay, the next question. Hi, Asan. Welcome on my first step ever. My quick question to you is, how has your experience been on my first step ever?
I really liked talking to you, Shani. You have absolute clarity of thought. Your questions were very specific. You made me very comfortable, so I didn't have to really think too much. You look like you had done your research really well, so you knew enough about me to ask the questions which I could very easily answer because it's pretty much with respect to what I have done or what I'm doing. So my best wishes for you and your podcast. You're doing an extraordinary job.
Thank you. And I'd like to give you credit for my research as well, for being there, giving your time so that we can chat prior and kind of get to know you in one. So definitely you for, and also as Eshan mentioned that he has his own podcast. So I would definitely leave the link for that podcast as well. You
Sure.
check that out. And I know that a lot of people will gain a lot of value from that as well. So thank you for being on
Thank
my
you
first
very
step
much,
ever.
Ishani. Really appreciate it.